Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. On this channel we post writing tips, unboxings, book hauls, book reviews and the occasional vlog. And today we're actually going to be discussing the 5 books I read during an anxiety flare-up. If you're not new here, I do writing tips, unboxings and book hauls and book reviews, and one of the writing tips videos I did was writing characters with anxiety, and part of the reason for that is because I found myself suffering with anxiety and depression. Woo! So I'm actually on surgery and I am doing fine. It's all good. However, very recently I had a bit of a scare. My nana had a stroke and I was told immediately. She was already in the hospital, and I actually live in Wales, but my family live above Newcastle in England, so that's about a 6.5 hour drive. She was in hospital, there was nothing I could do, so I got told to just stay where I am and they'll update me when they know things. Now we are super lucky, and I don't believe my Uncle Andrew watches the channel, but if you do, hero. Luckily, my nana had the stroke in the car with my Uncle Andrew, who is an ex-traffic officer. He noticed within 15 minutes, had her to the hospital, and she was super lucky. She reacted to the drugs immediately and she was released the following evening after her stroke, and she doesn't have any lasting effects that we can see. We had a massive scare, and then super grateful, very happy. On all my apps you can see that for the next 4 days I was just grateful. What happened next? I was due to see my nana in about 3 to 4 weeks after that point, so I spoke to my mum. I was like, should I come home? And she said, don't worry about it, she's fine. I spoke to her on the phone a couple of times and she was like, she's absolutely fine, we'll see you when we're meeting up on the planned date anyway. So I was like, okay. So I I phoned my nana, I phoned my mum, checked they were all okay, kept checking with my sister, all is fine. The week after my nana had her stroke, I started getting a really heavy chest, and I started to sort of lose my voice. Now I thought this was just some kind of bug, so I slackened up on my exercise, still exercised but a lot lighter. I gave myself respite, went to bed super early. I mean, after the stroke I think I was falling asleep at like 8:30, 9 every night and still feeling tired. We knew I'd had a big shock. I was like, that's fine, we'll just sleep it off. I was journaling, it's all okay. The week after that, I had a massive cold, and that week I took 2 days off work to recuperate. Again, I stayed light. So I thought, I've got COVID because it's gone on for 2 weeks now. I did go to the GP because my supervisor thought I had a chest infection before it turned into a cold, and they couldn't find anything wrong with me. The third week after my nana's stroke was actually a week off work. It was Matt's birthday. It was our 16th anniversary of being together. We had the week off. I went to see my friends, I went bouldering, went for a tea tasting. The next day I went on a massive cycle ride. The Monday, the first day of my holiday, I had an anxiety panic attack. Now what happens when I have those is quite often I wake up in the morning and it hits. So I can't prepare, I can't, come down, I can't seem to stop them, and I retch. And I call my anxiety Farquad. So if I just call them Farquad, you know who I'm talking about. So I hit on that day and I was like, oh, that's okay. I overexerted myself. I was out like 9 in the morning till like 6 p.m. Saturday and Sunday. And although I'd, done the face mask, had a bath, chilled out, had a slow evening, I just pushed myself. And this has happened since being on sertraline. I've had a day-long panic attacks and it's been fine. It wears off. This didn't wear off. I had the anxiety for a further 2 and a bit weeks. Every morning retching, every day feeling my chest feeling tight, the general pain of it all. And during this time, I know I'm sharing too much, period hit. So I'm like, oh, maybe it's that. Maybe I just didn't process the nana thing. Since this, so we had the week of chest heavy, week of cold, 2 weeks of anxiety. On that weekend was the weekend I was due to see my nana. So we went up to Sheffield to stay at my friend's house, and I met my mum and my nana and my cousin halfway between Sheffield and above Newcastle. My leg was shaking. I was feeling car sick. I could barely eat. It was like, for those 2 weeks of anxiety, I'd gone back to before I was on sertraline, where I was scared of food, where everything was just too much. But I was still trying to stay positive because I knew it was anxiety now. The first time I didn't know what it was. I knew it was anxiety, I knew it would pass, but when something goes on that long, you start to question, is it going to pass? And we have a honeymoon booked in June. It'll be my first flight in 6 years. I used to travel and live abroad. I was a nomad for 6 years. I've done a lot of flights, yet I'm finding myself scared of flights. And during the anxiety flare-up, I was like, oh my God, do we need to cancel? Should we just stay in the UK? Can I handle going abroad? Oh my God. I saw my nana on the Sunday. On the Monday, so the 5th week, I still had anxiety. From the Tuesday, gone. I was fine. And currently, I'm doing okay. I felt a little bit nervous this morning. I don't know why, but I haven't retched. I'm okay. I wanted to make a video on this, mostly because I know I've just talked at you. You just needed the background here. During that time, I was actually reading Dark Fire by C.J. Sampson. I am actually making a vlog of reading the whole Shard Lake series, so I won't go into detail too much on this book. But this book is based in Tudor, England, and it's so good. Read them if you haven't. It's murder mystery. Mwah. I'm loving it, and I have finished it now. Since the anxiety lifted, I have finished this book. But I was about maybe halfway through when the anxiety hit, and I couldn't handle the Tudor time period with the mention of the burnings, the mentions of the beheadings. That was too much for Farquaad. I pamper him. I give him everything he needs to get the anxiety going. I do the meditation, the journaling, yoga, the breathing. I've started bilateral stimulation. I'm on sertraline. Farquaad got everything Farquaad could possibly want. I chilled out. I only watched movies that I knew were chilled and happy. I cried. I let my feelings out. It still took him until seeing my Nana. Now I know if Nana ever gets ill again, I'm just going north. Regardless of if she's fine, I'm just going home. We're not letting this happen again. But halfway through this book, I was like, this might not be helping. I'm going to see if I can sleep better if I just read something totally safe. That brings us to today's video, which is the 5 books that I read during this anxiety flare-up. I want to share them with you because if you yourself are going through anxiety, maybe you also, like me, had to change what you're reading. If you did, please comment down below. What books did you find helped soothe the anxiety before you went to sleep? What made you feel happier and lighter so that you could go to sleep without worrying? So even though when I have the anxiety flare-ups, it's in the morning where I retch and then, I can be overwhelmed easier and my chest will feel tight and everything for the rest of the day. But going to bed knowing you are likely to retch in the morning is not a nice feeling, and I wouldn't wish it on anyone. It triggers itself because it makes you scared of going to bed. It means that you can be totally fine in the afternoon and the evening, but then in the evening you'll start getting this dread and fear of feeling like in the morning you're going to be unwell. And these books helped me to let go of that and to not think about it and to just enjoy the books, to feel safe and to sleep. And yes, even though I did retch, I think these books helped lessen how much that took out of me. Without further ado, let's get into the 5 books. Before we get into that, don't forget if you like what you see to subscribe to this channel. Your continued support means a lot, so thank you guys so much. The first book that I read during this flare-up was Pets Tell Tales, Ancient Egypt. This is a comic and the designs in it are fabulous. This is written by Rick Worth and illustrated by Jordan Colliver. Now Jordan is a friend of ours, so this is signed, and they do have a new book coming out about Rome. I'm so excited because yes, this is a children's comic. Adults can find so much humor in this, and also I think it actually counted as a non-fiction on my story graph because it teaches you a lot about Egypt and a lot I really didn't know. They tried to go for history that isn't taught in schools, and I absolutely loved it. So you see Egypt through the eyes of 9 animals, and it is just fabulous. I'll read you guys the blurb. Discover the history of ancient Egypt in this awesome laugh-out-loud comic book. Pyramids? I could have built those. Us animals of ancient Egypt were pretty special, In fact, some of us were sacred. It's about time you heard our side of the story. There are baboon bodyguards, sacred poop-pushing beetles, a crocodile king, and mummified cats too. And you can see this on the back. The cat using the desert as a litter tray. It is such a light-hearted, fun, and easy read. The artwork is fantastic. I love Jordan's way of sort of actually moving between the boxes and linking the boxes together. Trust me when I say adult humor galore. It's fabulous. It made me laugh out loud. I'm going to reread this and I'm very excited for the new one to come out. So I gave this 5 stars out of 5. The next books I read are actually a series, and 2 of them were a reread for me, and I actually treated myself and bought the 3rd because I was just out one day and I was like, you know what? Screw it. I deserve a new easy book. I'm having a crap time. We're getting a new book and I'm going to enjoy it. And that is book 1, 2, and 3 of the Cat Plus Gamer manga. These are by Wataru Nadatani and they are translated by Zach Davison. Gorgeous books. These mangas are all about a cat and a gamer who rescues this cat from the streets and is learning about being a cat parent, but through the eyes of a gamer. So it's just really fun. If you like gaming and you love cats, then these are very cute, fast, easy, safe reads. I'll read you guys the blurb of manga 1. Level up with a new feline friend. Riko, a 29-year-old office worker with an obsession for video games, finds her quiet life upended when she takes in a stray cat. Having no experience with pets, Riko uses lessons drawn from video games to guide her in cat care, while her cute companion tries to understand Riko's behaviour and personal obsessions through a cat's world view. It's just so friggin' cute. Look at it. Look at the cat. So that's book 1. I gave this 5 stars out of 5. I absolutely adored it. We then have book 2 and the blurb for this. The lives of a hardcore gamer and her cat. A quiet office worker embraces her new role as a cat mum and begins sharing superfluous amounts of cat photos on the internet. Riko can't help it. Her tuxedo baby is just too cute. Will her co-workers feel the same, or will it add to their bewilderment about her? At home, Riko learns more about Musubi, from favourite toys such as a free grocery bag to their shared joy of video games. And Musubi himself learns a new trick, how to tell her when it's dinner time. Leveling up in skills, surprises and adventures extends to real life as Riko discovers what it's like living with a cat. Again, we're just learning more about this cat and Riko and games, and it's just adorable. I believe I gave this 4 stars because it's sort of the same as the first, it felt like, but it still made me want to continue the series. We then have finally book 3 of Cat Plus Gamer. Gain 9 extra lives with a new feline friend. A dedicated gamer, Riko discovers what it's like living with a cat, and she levels up in responsibilities and skills every day. Musubi, her cute new companion, tries to understand Riko's behaviour through a cat's worldview, and Riko uses lessons drawn from video games to guide her in pet care. Enjoying their time together, Riko learns more about cohabiting with a cat as lessons in grooming, play and personal space continue to be learned. Wataru Nadatani's hilarious manga series is translated by Zach Davison, Demon Days, Kabyo, The Supernatural Cats of Japan, and lettered by Susie Lee of Studio Cutie. Oh my goodness, Gantz. Again, just adorable. So this is the new one I got myself, and I reread books 1, 2, and 3. I think I gave 3 4.5 stars. Basically, I'll keep rereading these again and again and again. Same for the Pets Tell Tales. Just such cute reads. So I read 3 mangas and I read a comic book. And the final book, because, of course, where would any Pratchett fan go when anxious but to Pratchett's children's books? I read Tales of Wizards and Dragons by Terry Pratchett. This is a new version of these short tales. It's actually a collection of short stories from newspapers, I believe. We do actually have a second-hand copy of the full lot of these, but I couldn't resist. I got this for Matt for his birthday because it is a full coloured edition. It looks almost like Roald Dahl level of pictures. So I read this, and again, it's just safe it's Pratchett, it's witty, it's sarcastic. It is dated a bit with the traditional knights, but we have wizards, we have knights, we have dragons. It's Pratchett with a refreshing view of dragons and knights, and all in all, it's a safe, easy, funny. I laughed out loud reading this. I looked forward to reading it. Adored it. Let me read you guys the blurb. 3 fantastical and funny tales of mischief, monsters, and magic. Meet the most boring knight in the whole kingdom. Find out how to defeat an invasion of dragons. Witness a magical wizarding feud. With full-colour illustrations by Mark Beach, these stories are the perfect introduction for young readers to the world of master storyteller Sir Terry Pratchett. So funny I dropped my spoon laughing from King Arthur. Fabulous. I actually gave it 3 stars, mainly because of the dated views of women in it, really. That's partly because I'm comparing it to other children's books, and I have bought this for Maisie, who is Matt's cousin's daughter. Warnings of, it's dated. There are more modern books that have a much better representation for women and just overall representation. But it made me so happy and safe, and Errol and Dribble are 2 of my favourite dragons in the Discworld series. As I'm filming this, I'm actually up to making money, and I would have just turned to reading a full Pratchett, but I was busy reading Darkfire halfway through. I didn't want to read a massive book. I wanted to read books that I could finish within 1 or 2 nights and just fully relax. So I read Terry Pratchett children's books, and it was this one I chose. Those are the 5 books I read during my anxiety flare-up, and I would highly recommend them. Even if you're not an anxiety flare-up, if you just want a nice, easy, quick, good time reads, these are amazing. Love them all. I am feeling better now. As I said this morning, a little bit iffy, but I'm fine. Highly recommend these reads. Please do read them. They're very short, which is why I didn't want to dedicate a full review to each individual one. So to be honest, it's actually worked out quite well for me. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you are struggling with anxiety, please remember you're not alone and that it will pass. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. If you like to see things I upload, click that little bell down below. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook and Tumblr. I upload my bookish pictures as well as my writing tips and unboxings on there. And thanks for watching, guys. Bye!